All right, Bio 20 here are your notes on the blood part two. So we already went over the components of blood. Okay, so again, talking about like the red blood cells, the white blood cells, platelets, all of those things. Okay, now we're going to look more at like the blood types and so on. So starting with kind of artificial blood. So there's an accident back in 1982. A man and his wife were critically injured in this accident. They chose to have or not to have blood transfusion, okay, and which caused the wife to die. The courts ruled for the doctors to save the man's life. So even though the man and woman did not want uh, a blood transfusion, okay, the court still ruled that the doctors had to try and save him any way possible. Okay, so what they did is they came up with basically an artificial blood, which is fluosol, okay, which was then used to help save that man. Okay, so fluosol carries both oxygen and carbon dioxide, similar to blood. Okay, it doesn't require any blood matching, so you don't need to be like matched up with the same type of blood type, which we'll talk about further on. Okay, and it can be stored for long periods of time if frozen. So artificial blood does not need the screening that any other blood does for transfusions. We don't have to check it for anything it's carrying. It's artificial. Okay, but yeah, so like it doesn't carry any of the diseases that we're worried about, HIV, hepatitis, any other virus. Okay, but it is not as good as the real thing and should only be used until human blood can be administered or replenished. So basically, it's a quick fix if we need it right quick, but it doesn't replace actual human blood that we can get from someone that donated their blood. And so there's 4 different main blood type groups: A, B, AB, so A and B, AB, and O. Okay, when undergoing blood transfusions, is extremely important for the blood types to match. Okay, well, and they don't have to match perfectly, and we'll talk about that, but like there's certain blood types that if they don't match, they can basically it causes a reaction and it can kill them almost immediately. Okay, blood typing, what it looks at is the glycoprotein. So these are proteins basically on outside, they're markers on the outside of the blood. So the A blood type has an A glycoprotein or A marker. Okay, blood type B has a B glycoprotein or B marker. AB has both the glycoproteins and O has neither. So if an individual with the blood type O receives blood with a blood type of A, it will recognize the A marker as a foreign invader and will try and get rid of it. Basically, it causes an immune reaction. Okay, the A marker acts as an antigen. Okay, and a substance that stimulates the formation, or an antigen is a substance that stimulates the formation of an antibody. And the antibody reacts with this antigens to mark them for destruction. So basically, if someone with the blood type O receives blood type A, it builds up antibodies and basically causes all of this blood to be destroyed. Again, the antibodies attach to antigen markers, and cause the blood to clump. Okay. And as the agglutination or the clumping of the blood, basically it clogs up and prevents our capillaries and prevents oxygen delivery, and that's why you almost get immediate death if you have the wrong blood type. Okay, and so the way you can kind of think about it is like, so for blood type A, they have these markers on the outside of the blood. Blood type B would have different markers. AB would have both. O doesn't have any. And so then the antibodies will build up. Whoops. So the antibodies, okay, if you have blood type A, you'll have the antibodies for blood type B. If you have blood type B, you'll have the antibodies for A. If you have both, you don't have then any buildup of any antibodies. If you have blood type O, you have both the antibodies, so you can't accept either of them. So the antigens in the red blood cell are kind of opposite. So like again, A has the A antigen, B has the B, AB has both, and O has none. So individuals with blood type AB, since they have both markers, they don't have any antibodies, so they can receive any type of blood, all blood types. So the AB is known as the universal recipient. Okay, but when they donate blood, they can only donate to other individuals that have AB because they have both markers on them. Okay, since blood type O has no markers, it can be given to any other blood type. So it's known as universal donor. Okay, but O blood types can only accept other O blood types. So kind of just knowing like the donor, and we'll talk about the plus and minus here in a minute. Okay, but like A can give to, or A can give to A, B can give to B. You can always give to your own blood type. Okay, O can give to all the 4 types of blood types because it has no marker. Okay, and then AB can receive from all the blood types because it has no antigens or antibodies. Sorry. Okay, the rhesus factor, Rh factor. So this was discovered later on. It's another antigen, okay, on the red blood cells. So we already talked about like the antigens of A and B. So now this rhesus factor just kind of gives an extra, like it can either be positive or negative. Okay, those that have the antigen are called Rh positive. So they have this rhesus factor. Okay, and approximately 85% of Canadians have this antigen. Okay, you can always get your blood type tested and to see what you are. I know I am O positive, so I can donate to everybody that has positive blood, but nobody with negative blood. Okay, and so if you don't have the antigen, you are Rh negative. So again, Rh individuals are capable of donating. Rh negative can give to Rh positive because again, Rh positive, they have the antigen, so they don't have the antibodies built up against it. The Rh negative, though, doesn't have the antigen. That's why it's negative of the rhesus factor. And so they can only donate to those with negative blood because they have the antibodies of the Rh positive. So kind of just adding an extra layer on to who can donate. Okay, the reaction isn't as bad as it is with like the ABO blood types. So like if you get the wrong blood type, we talked about how it can kill you almost instantly. Okay, if you get the wrong rhesus factor, it's a little bit like it'll usually just cause problems and can get figured out. Okay, the biggest place where the Rh factor incompatibilities, okay, are really important is to pregnant women. Okay, if the mom is Rh negative, but then the baby is Rh positive, a condition called erythroblastosis occurs. Okay, and so that's why like it's really important if you get pregnant to know your blood type. Okay, the first baby, it doesn't really matter. Both will be fine because the blood is separated by the placenta during birth. Okay, but then, or during birth, the blood starts to mix together. So then the mom produces the Rh antibodies, okay, to fight off this positive blood. Okay, and any other pregnancy is at risk of a miscarriage because of the mom has already built up these antibodies. So as soon as it senses any of that positive, it will start to miscarriage. Okay, they have, so blood test is needed. They usually do these early in pregnancy if you don't already know your blood type. And then the mother can receive an injection, basically Rh immunoglobulin that prevents the antibody production by the mother. So like for me, I'm O positive. Mrs. Bergsma is B negative. So she had to get those injections every time she was pregnant. Okay, kind of showing the donor chart. So A negative is the universal donor. They can give to every blood type because they don't have any antibody, or they don't have any antigens, right? The O blood types have 0 antigens, and then if they're negative, they don't have the Rh antigen also. Okay, O positive can give to all other positive blood types. Okay, B negative can donate to AB positive and negative, and B, it can always give to its own blood type. Someone with B positive blood can only give to AB positive and B positive. A negative can give to A and AB, both positive and negative. A positive can only give to AB positive and A, and then AB negative can only give to AB negative and positive, and AB positive can only receive from AB or AB positive, or can only donate to AB positive. Okay, don't worry about these questions. You're going to be doing your assignment. Okay, going over that. Most of you have already handed in 11.1, so that's good.